Plaintiff Raymond Tadanetti Jr. says he's here today as a concerned parent because the defendant, who's his son, has been addicted to pills and alcohol for years. Raymond claims his other son was recently forced to call the police after the defendant attacked him, and he's suing today for the cost of a car and emotional distress. Defendant Raymond Tadanetti says he had a rough childhood and ended up moving out of his father's home at age 17. Raymond admits that he and his father got into a physical altercation, but he insists his father initiated it by pushing him on the bed. He's countersuing for unreturned property and emotional distress.
Prove your case.
Well, first of all, I'm here as a concerned parent. I have 3 boys, and Raymond is spiraling out of control. From an early age, he addicted to pills and alcohol abuse. And,
how old did he start using?
At 15, 16, he had problems with, always had my knee hurts, my back hurts, can I get an aspirin, a Tylenol? Pills would come missing up out of the house. I was a single parent. I did the best I could raising my boys, did the best I could.
What happened to his mother?
His mother gave birth to him and the oldest brother and just wanted to go, didn't want kids anymore, took off. I'm just really concerned for him. If he doesn't get help, he's going to spiral out of control.
Let me hear from you.
Well, first of all, I'd like to give you a little bit of background on our relationship. Me and my father have always had a rocky relationship, from the beginning. From the beginning, we've always argued, we've always butted heads, and then...
From the begining? You couldn't talk in the beginning.
Well, since I was able to talk back, since I could talk back,
Maybe 10 or something?
Yeah, right around in there. And, it really got bad when about a year and a half ago, we got into a physical altercation. He beat me up pretty bad. I had to get a 6-month restriction order.
How did that happen?
You know what? That's not even what happened, Raymond. Why don't you come clean and tell the truth? Your Honor, he came to my house to stay there because he was having a dispute with his wife. He was getting divorced. He came to my house and he walked in there and he showed up, dropped a bunch of stuff on, was gone for 4 or 5 days at a time, come back, borrowing money from me. He said he got a job. He wrecked his car. He went to the bar. He wrecked his car, left it in a ditch. I had the Denton Police Department calling me the next day, where's Ray at? Because his car's in a ditch. There's a half a bottle of tequila in there and there's all kinds of empty beer cans.
I was not the one driving, Your Honor. I had a designated driver who had been drinking, unbeknownst to me.
So your designated driver was drunk?
Yes. I was inside the bar. I was in the bar. I didn't know he was outside of my car drinking.
Passed out?
No, he didn't pass out.
Oh.
It was raining. The road was slippery. He took a turn too fast, hit a tree.
Finish telling me about yourself now.
Okay, yeah. So, there's
age 10, you all had friction?
Yeah, we had to get the PPO and everything, rough childhood, constantly moving, constantly changing schools. When I was 17, I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this on my own. So I moved out on my own. 18, I got married, didn't last long. Divorced a couple months later. 2006, I remarried and had a son.
Okay.
And
what about all the drug use that he alleges occurred prior to this?
I was drinking a little bit more then. I really wasn't really into drugs. I did smoke pot.
From age 15, as he said.
No, because I didn't even move out till I was 17, and that's when I started doing stuff and getting into trouble.
Please, you were drinking before you moved out.
That's one of the problems, Raymond. Raymond, you would come home at 15 years old and have beer all over his breath, or I'd have stuff missing out of my refrigerator. My pills would be missing. He even took one of my Viagras once.
No, I wasn't even living with you at 15. So how is that possible?
Well, you're 15 to 17, Raymond.
No.
I'm clean. Be honest.
I am being honest. You're the one lying.
He left, Your Honor, when he left home and he got married, I got a note. I got a note from him scribbled. He didn't even have the respect for me to even leave a decent note. It was a scribblage on the back of an old receipt that was laying around the house. I'm leaving, don't try to find me, I'm doing this on my own. Ray.
Has he been able to do it on his own? Have you?
I've done pretty well, yes.
Okay.
Okay, can I interject? And Ray, you left a good part out where when you got married and a month later after getting married, you were getting divorced again. I got a phone call from his wife's mother. Raymond was they bought him a house, a car, snowmobiles, TV for every
His in-laws bought him?
His in-laws bought him. They own a little putt-putt place up north. And
married into money.
He was supposed to, but all he had to do was rake the pine needles up 3 times a month. around the
Rake the pine
just rake pine needles up. He did it for the
3
first
times a month.
Yeah, he did it
That's
for
all
the
they
first.
had to do.
He did it for the first few months, and then he just disappeared. Disappeared from his wife. Then he moved in with somebody. I got a phone call from the wife's mother telling me, you know, your son's this, that, and the other thing. If you don't go get him, there's people coming from Detroit. They're gonna hurt you.
Oh no!
That's a little far-fetched.
Oh no! Well, I mean,
Because he was
what's
taking.
so scary about people coming from Detroit to get you?
Well,
Who's
because
that about?
she said that they were going to cause him great bodily harm.
Go ahead,
Her relatives. They were
Go
her
ahead.
relatives,
All right.
his wife's relatives
All
that were
right.
angry at Raymond.
Sir, you blew that good deal. How did you blow that?
I was too young. That's what it boils down to.
Just
I
tell
was
me
too
what
young.
was happening.
Just, I didn't like being married. I was 18, just got married.
Defendant Raymond Tatanetti is being sued by his father, who claims Raymond assaulted him and broke his rib.
Go ahead.
Well, his second marriage was that he bettered up because they did the same thing for him.
Showered him with money.
Oh, put him in a beautiful house trailer, best with everything, and then he did get a job, and
I paid for it.
Then he
I
did get a
paid my
job, and
bills.
I started to get proud of him. He got his life together. But when all this happened, he was doing pills, he was drinking. He left his second wife on a divorce. He came to stay with me. He was never there unless he came to borrow money from me, in and out or pass out. I have some photos, Your Honor, of when he came home one time. What happened to him
We're
at
gonna
a
have to
party?
get to the loans in a second, but what photos do you want to show me?
Yeah. This is how he came home from a party that he had spent the night at.
How old was he, son?
22.
All right. What is the face?
We were at a party having a good time, drawing each other. I was old enough to go out and party, so I did.
Those guys from Detroit caught up with him.
All right, sir. The car, unpaid loans, and emotional distress.
Okay. The car, first of all, I have a receipt that he scribbled down on an envelope, and I signed the car over to him. And his friend
Signed it over to him in exchange for $2,100?
For $2,100.
All
He was
right.
supposed to pay me $150 a month, Your Honor.
How much have you received?
0.
All right, what else?
There was 2 loans
For how much?
for $450 and $500.
When did you loan him that?
That was 8/20 of 08.
How much has he repaid?
0.
What else?
The emotional distress, the pain, on suffering. When we had the altercation in September of 08,
Tell me about it. I haven't heard about it.
he came home came back to my house because he's been gone for 4 or 5 days. Then he came back and he was inebriated. He brought a bottle of vodka in. He was using my cell phone and my computer, which takes my home phone line up as well. Tried to get the phone from him. I said, I need one of the phones. He wouldn't give it to me. So he started getting mad and he threw the phone. He started taking the computer apart, was going to take the hard drive out of it because he had just sold it to me. And he was mad. I'm taking my stuff and going. So when I went to grab the computer, he turned around and fell on the bed and he kicked me under the rib cage, bruised my spleen and broke my rib. And that's when my son Jeremy, here I have medical records for all this too. My son Jeremy called 911. He was living at my house at the time.
Your Honor, that's not at all how the fight went.
You tell me.
He pushed me onto the bed. If I had broke his rib, ruptured his spleen, he wouldn't have been able to bear hug me and slam me into the wall. And after I managed to break free, I went into the living room and I wanted to call 911, but he had taken the phone from me. At that point, I do believe my brother was on the phone with 911 with him. We got into a scuffle out into the living room. He pushed me backwards. I fell onto a coffee table. I bruised my back.
Okay.
And then
I'm going to conclude this was mutual combat based on what I'm hearing from you and from you. That's what that was. I'm not granting anyone any emotional distress over this fight. Your counterclaim, $1,575, unreturned property, and emotional distress. Tell me how he owes you.
the emotional stress was, again, because of the fight. And then I also have the breakdown of the property left at his house.
Defendant Raymond Tatanetti is being sued by his father, who claims Raymond assaulted him and broke his rib.
Sir, do you have his items?
Your Honor, I have a statement where he came back to the house and what he took from a person who stayed at my house while his girlfriend drove me to the other hospital.
Did you want to speak, young man?
Oh, yes.
State your name for me.
I'm Jeremy Tatanetti. I'm his brother, and
my father. During the fight and everything, he went and tried to take everything out of the house. He was grabbing the TV, slamming against the wall, and my dad just stood in front of him, holding the TV, slamming up against him with the TV. And I told my brother, look, just leave it alone. It's just personal items. I finally found the house phone after it got thrown. How it got thrown, I have no idea. I don't remember. Called the cops. I called the cops, and then I ran the phone to my dad, and then how Raymond tripped over the table, I have no idea.
All right, Marshall Clark, go with you. And Jenny Bird?
No, not with me.
They're not your friends?
No, they're not my friends. They're his friends.
They're my friends. They watched my house, and he let Raymond into the house for his clothes, and Raymond grabbed his CD case, he grabbed some cables and the hard drive off the computer.
That didn't happen?
No, I just grabbed my clothes.
He got his stuff, Your Honor. He got it. I have no use for his stuff.
That's enough. What's the deal? What's the deal on you guys now, your relationship?
I would love to be able to rectify this and move on, because I have a grandson I'm not allowed to see.
How do you think we can do that?
I don't know. I mean, Raymond needs help. You know, no matter what he's saying, he needs help.
You need help too.
Coping with him, that's a mental distressor.
I'm going to grant his judgment minus the emotional distress, $3,050. Yours is dismissed, sir. You haven't proven that he failed to allow you to retrieve your property. Have a good day.
I'll see my grandson soon. Get real, get your job, your life together. That's all I want. You have a son you have to be a role model for. Do the best you can and get a real life.
All right, stop being a and we're all good.
We recently spoke with both plaintiff Raymond Tatanetti Jr. and defendant Raymond Tatanetti, who told us after their case was heard, things between them improved. Raymond Jr. said Raymond got sober, went to college, became a photographer, and also got married and had a baby. Raymond Jr. also said he's doing great, and he got married 2 years ago. Raymond told us that his relationship with Raymond Jr. improved for a while after their case, but Raymond Jr. got upset after Raymond reconciled with his mother. However, Raymond said he loves Raymond Jr. and hopes they can get their relationship back on track.